What? All right. Hey, welcome to the Space Paint Ideas. And this is going to be another exciting experience here in the world of, I don't know. Okay, so like I was talking about in my last video, I just think the thing about like Replit, I saw these videos that the Replit guy, I didn't really watch the videos earlier, but now I noticed that there's a guy that makes videos about Replit. So they have something called Agent 2. I just think it's ridiculous because I've just been struggling here and struggling and struggling and struggling and struggling, and I'm just starting to lose my mind here. So, because I don't know, these AI programming tools are good for what? They're good for one prompt programming. And then once your one prompt is done, then what happens next? It's kind of ridiculous. I'll show you what I mean. So, like, here's my new little website, and this is the homepage. So great. Hey, welcome to my website called Project Arrowhead. Stop running in circles, start achieving your objectives. The Project Arrowhead is a thinking tool that helps managers and teams align on strategy. Yeah, okay, good. You can use our free app, or you can pay for the pro, or you can join our team version, except for the fact that there is none. These websites literally don't exist. Why? Because I mean, you can create simple websites. Like if you have these really, really simple websites, which can like, I don't know. I mean, it even helped me build this. So you can see that this is more complicated. This has quite a few features. And in one prompt, it can help you get what you want done. So here we go. So here's the brainstorm. This is the free version of my website. This is the first version. And as you can see, somebody pre-populated something in here, so we can just go back home. And if you use my website, then you can. What's going on? Let's go to the home page. I don't know why I didn't go to the home page. Clear session. All right, now it should be empty. Yeah, there you go. So this is the free version of the website. Now, the issue I got now is that look, in my app section, I got these two apps. I got the Arrowhead solution, and then I have the objectives tracker. And I want the objectives tracker, that's the free version of my app. I want it to show up when you click this launching button, this use free tool. But then like, how do you merge two websites? Like, so this is like all just kind of ridiculous. Anyways, I'm a little bit frustrated today because so I started using Windsurf, and we seem to have a lot more credits to go, and we got like at least another, well, we got 2 more weeks and we haven't even used half. So it looks like we should just keep on going. Good. All right. So I'm just going to share the whole kit and caboodle. I'm going to share the whole screen. And let's see if that can show everything. All right. Looks like it's showing everything. Good. Okay. So let's jump into task J2. So I guess what I'm saying is I better sit up. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, is that me? Hey, everybody. Can I see myself now? Yeah, as you can see, it's really hot here in Georgia. So in the video this morning, I was talking about like I think that Google did a really good job. Gemini did a really good job in understanding what the project is that I'm trying to do. It's like here it is. So instead of just looking at product management software, we should be looking at how other business methodologies and strategic frameworks have been successfully productized and sold. Your true competitors aren't just software companies, they are authors, consultants, and educators who have packaged a way of thinking. That's exactly what So I've been teaching the business model canvas to students for quite a while. There's a book called Business Model Generation, and I think it's a great book. And I've been teaching it to many, many people for a very long time. If we go to page 44, then you'll notice that there is, it's not page 44, page 50. You can see that this is the business model canvas. So it's spot on. It's like, okay, here's SWOT analysis. Again, like we have like a real presentation on SWOT analysis. Another thing I've been doing a long time. We got the personalized work assessment, the Myers-Briggs. So this is interesting. And the five dysfunctions of a team. Okay, that's interesting. So here's two more methodologies that I don't really have a lot of experience in. So I think we should probably consider what is going on with these two. I can start actually teaching this to my consultant clients because the thing is like I have a lot of consulting clients and they've been through all of my stuff and then now they're like, kind of like what's next? What are we gonna do next? So I can definitely read up on this stuff and just keep on studying. Don't bother me one bit. Good. Okay, so then that's that. So exactly. So I'm trying to work with like a decision-making process. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. But before I can do all that stuff, I need to let me just the audio. Good. Okay, good. All right. So where are we then? We are on task. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what we're doing because like I have to do these tasks. I have to continue to develop a process to make Windsurf like better at helping me with my job because at the end of the day, right now, um, vibe coding is not the answer. Vibe coding is not getting me the result that I want. And so my choices are I can either work with vibe coding and like figure out how to break the code, like figure out how to actually make it work for me and in my situation, or what's the alternative? Or to inspire some software coder somewhere in the universe that believes that my system is a good system, that believes that it could be a successful coaching methodology, that believes in this project. But until that happens, I'm stuck. I got to do it myself. So, all right. So basically, what happened is right now I'm working with Free Five, and Free Five is the latest version of my architect. It said that I need to create this prompt, and then I need to add the prompt for Windsurf, and then we jump into Windsurf, and it said, well, it said this. Of course, I will begin task J2. I will follow your specific four-phased workflow precisely. Now I'm starting to lose like context. Like I don't really remember what it is that we were talking about. I know that I was using two different windows in Cascade, and I'm also using two different windows inside of Gemini. But it doesn't really matter because that's the whole point of my process is that I have these calibration documents, and as long as I have calibration documents, then it doesn't matter if I forget where we are. So also we have Kanban. So Kanban's telling me we're trying to we're adding to the calibration process docs and drive the car. So right now we're doing drive the car. And also there's something about adding an AI linter and visual ground truth to the process. And I know that's it currently in process. And then that's in the calibration section. So we're talking about AI linter, we're talking about visual ground truth, talking about automated user journeys. So I have it all up, you know, it's all in my process. And then I got my AI in the background that remembers everything. So, I don't really need to remember anything. I just have to just keep it moving. This plan is excellent. This plan, it's clear, comprehensive, correctly outlines the entire user journey. You've correctly identified the necessary steps, including handling the loading screen and alert dialog. You've explicitly can blah blah blah. So, I mean, if it doesn't work, then we'll just do some kind of It doesn't really matter if well, that's the thing. It's like it doesn't matter. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. I don't know. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be problems, and we're just trying to think through them. Actually, we're trying to let AI think through them. All right, so now this is the problem. So, grounding is complete. Yeah, is it complete? So we just copy this. It's got like a really slow and deliberate process for making decisions about writing code. Now, I do have one question. So does phase two is complete? I have selected the correct and approved. Uh, this proceed. So I remember earlier I was asking questions about the AI linter test and the something about the pictures. And it was like, no, it's this isn't part of it. That's something else. I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I don't know. See, the whole point, here we are. So we're just doing this step right now. What we could do actually with the Kanban is we could move this back to the top of this list. We're technically we're all we're doing right now is driving the car. So all right, so if you're new here, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to actually do this. So we could just have a little chat. So what I'm asking it to do is what? So okay, if we look here, if we look at the past conversations, you see that most people they recommend that you use one chat window. But the problem with using one chat window is that eventually it's like, yeah, it's good. One chat window for a very small project, which is not very complicated, is fine. But after a while, in the case of my project, it seems like, because I have like 18 pages, and apparently the pages which I created this website. It's this one here. It's the objectives track. I just showed it to you at the beginning of the video. And I'm trying to make some improvements on this page. So what I did was I took this code, which you can see here. Here's all the project files. And, and then once it reaches GitHub, then I downloaded it into Windsurf because I wanted to use Windsurf. I don't know what happened. Just seems like it's start working. Also, another problem is it doesn't copy and paste the same as it used to. I actually have to like copy piece by piece. So I upload this project to GitHub, and then after I upload all these files to GitHub, well, actually, what I did was I downloaded it as a zip file. Then after downloading it as a zip file, then I uploaded that project to this window, and then this thing sent it up to GitHub. I don't even know why. So, and then now I'd like to make some changes, particularly on this task list page. And then the thing is that like once I started trying to make some changes to this task list page, then this like it started having problems. So then what I decided to do was to create some processes so that I have no idea what it's doing. I needed to create some processes because it wasn't actually solving problems that I needed it to solve. So my first step was to create testing software. I don't really know where I wrote this down. It's written down somewhere. I guess you could look at it through here. So the first thing I do in order for the AI to understand my project is I create calibration docs, and then I update those calibration docs. Number two is I create automated testing processes in Windsurf. And then now I'm trying to create AI linter. I'd like to create the AI linter test in the visual ground truth. But before that, I'm now doing the automated user journeys. Now the idea is that after I upload the calibration test or the calibration documents, then I would ask Windsurf to go through these automated drive the car tests, and then by automatically going through these automated testing things, like to understand, it would help it understand how the software works. And then after it understands how the software works, it would make better decisions when it's time to make edits to the software. So really, all I'm really trying to do is I'm not happy with the way that Windsurf, like, because they're always talking about like, oh, Windsurf can holistically understand your code base. It's not true. So I'm trying to create processes so that Windsurf can understand my code base. And then if it can understand my code base, then I'll be able to tell it how to make changes. And then once it understands the code base and I ask it to make changes, it'll make educated decisions. That's what I'm doing because I'm just tired of like it makes so many errors. So the big vision is how do I reduce the number of errors that the software is making when I make edits? And then what's the actual process? What's the procedure that I go through if I would like to calibrate a new window inside of Windsurf? So that also means maybe it means that I can also like move between windows. I can move from the Windsurf window and then move back to Replit because maybe Replit has its agent two because its agent one actually sucked. Like I even gave up on using the agent one because it just was so terrible. And now they're like, oh, we have agent two. You're gonna love agent two. I mean, maybe I'll love agent two. It depends because I got like another 300 tokens with Windsurf. And there's two things we're trying to figure out with Windsurf. One is um, can we create processes in order that at some point I can start asking it to make changes and it'll make changes and improvements to the code without making errors. Like that's what I'm hoping. I mean, what happens if I spend this entire month basically just like working with Windsurf and creating processes to help Windsurf understand my code base so that when I ask it to make changes, that it'll actually make changes without messing up. All right, so that's what I wanted to do. And then what? And then the result is that when I finally get back to the point where we're actually trying to like actually, make changes to the code, what if it still doesn't work? Well, if it still doesn't work, then I'll just use what I learned from working with Windsurf for the past month and put it back into what's happening. This is a major success. You have successfully executed a complex multi-stage operating, building a comprehensive end-to-end test suite from the ground up. Our application is now protected by a robust safety net that it verifies three critical user journeys, ensuring that core functionality, navigation, and data persistence are stable and reliable. The disciplined, protocol-driven approach has proven worth. Within our testing foundation firmly in place, we can now confidently return to feature development. The reason we started Operation Drive the Car was because the feature implementation was failing due to a lack of safety net. The obstacle is now removed. Our next objective will be to run the roadmap outlined in the project requirements document. The highest priority item on the list was enhancing free tier user experience. Therefore, our next sprint will be Operation Enhance the Core. The first task will be to implement our planned improvements for the task page HTML as defined in PDR section 4.1.3. I'll prepare the prompt. Okay. All right, so it wants to get back to feature development. Don't bother me, man. Sounds good to me. So, because that was the whole point of this like little side journey. Um, oops. For some reason it didn't copy. Okay. Now another thing is hello. So I have pasted the above text, the text that you wrote. It says basically where it says prompt for Cascade. I copied and pasted that whole section to Cascade. And so I just want to return to the question about, well, since we've already created our automated user journeys, drive the car. So my first question is, do we actually want to ask Cascade to go through those user journeys and then reply to us about what it understands about the code based on those user journeys so that when we actually make changes to the code, then it will have a better understanding of the code base, and then it will have like it'll make better choices when it comes to how it decides to make edits to the code. And then also I'm curious to know about the AI linter test. So when you talk about this prompt that I just pasted into uh, Cascade, like is it automatically going to be also adding these linter tests? Also, is it automatically going to add the visual ground truth tests? So, and then also is it going to add it to the automated testing processes? So these are, we have five tools in our calibration process to help cascade. Now, the first thing that it has the workflows that we've developed in our calibration docs. And I think that you've done a good job in guiding Cascade using the principles that we already have in our calibration documents. And then next is the automated user journeys that we have developed using drive the car methodology. But I didn't see where you actually asked it to go through and actually drive the car so that it would get some insight based on driving the car about how it should make changes when it's time to make changes with the code. You also didn't mention what we're going to do with the AI linter test and the visual ground truth. And you also didn't mention how we're going to add to our automated tests in the process of developing code so that we know that all the code that's being developed is high quality and actually works in our project. So after you reply to this, then I'm also going to give you the reply from Cascade, and then I want you to provide me a plan for how we're going to move forward. You guys still with us? Can I hear my voice when I'm talking over here? Hello? No, I can't hear myself. It's the problem. Dang it. Okay, maybe it's just my earphone. Okay. Yeah, I can hear myself. Good. All right, let's get back to the business. Yeah, my earphones are kind of messed up, so sometimes I can't hear myself. Those are excellent and very important questions. They get to the heart of how we use our new advanced workflow. You've correctly identified all the tools in our calibration toolkit. Let me clarify the specific purpose and timing of each one within the prompt I created. The short answer is that the prompt is using these tools as we deliberate sequential steps that I, the architect, command rather than automatic work background process. Drive the car. It is our safety net, not a study guide. Huh? This is the most crucial point. You asked why we don't have Cascade drive the car first to get the insight before it makes changes. The E2E test suites are built. Operation Drive the Car is our regression safety net. Its primary purpose is to be run after a code changes to verify that the new feature hasn't broke any of our existing crucial user journeys. Think of it like a building inspector. The inspector doesn't tour the finished building and learn how to build the house. They inspect the finished work to make sure it's up to code and that the new plumbing hasn't broken the electrical system. In the prompt I provided, this is when I instructed Cascade to run, I explicitly telling it to drive the car through all three of our established user journey. Cool. AI linter test and visual ground truth. You asked if these steps are being added automatically. They are not. They are new mandatory phases in our workflow that I am commanding Cascade to perform. The AI linter test, think of it as a pre-flight check before we run our expensive E to E test. We want to check cheap way to catch obvious errors. The prompt, this is phase 4 AI linter. Explicitly instruct Cascade to stop visual ground truth. This isn't about running the test yet. It's about creating an asset for future tests. We can't create the prompt I use in the second part, phase 5. Take a screenshot. Okay, how we tested new features. This is an excellent question that anticipates the evolution of our process. You're asking, how do we add new automated tests into new status feature? You're right to notice that the prompt does not ask Cascade to write an end-to-end test for the status feature. This is why it would be inefficient. Okay. Phase 1. Okay, let's just let it think about this as we're reading. All right, phase 1 is plan. Phase 2 and 3 implement. Phase 4 is linter test. Phase 5 is the regression test, drive the car. 5, visual ground truth. And then future step unit test, we will add a phase where the AI writes a small focus test. There you go. It's exactly what I'm trying to say. This is literally what I've been thinking about the last week. There. Yeah, I just took a screenshot. This is an outstanding plan. It's not only this, it's also that, and this, and this, and that, and that. Okay, the plan's approved. Okay, I also just kind of want to like FYI, FYI conversation between project manager and architect. Add to memory what can enhance your abilities based on this discussion, and then read the command at the end to continue. And then we're just gonna pass on this little bit of context to Cascade. Daisies. Alrighty then. Cascade's being updated. I mean, I don't mind. Like, I enjoy this process of figuring stuff out. Like, it's okay. Like, we understand now. Like, there's this whole phased approach. Now, my question is like, Make sure it gets into the calibration docs. This is a critical clarification of our advanced workflow. We internalize the philosophy to test our safety net for regression. The linter test is a pre-flight self-check. Visual ground truth is about creating assets for future tests. Unit tests are the next logical step for focusing the future validation. I'll create the memory to permanently store the operational protocol. Proceed to phase 2. Grounding is complete. I've read and analyzed the current context. This provides necessary base implementation. Grounding is fully complete. I have read this and that and the other thing. It appears implementation of partial failure changes to this despite some things. Okay, so it's obviously it's going to run into some problems. There you go. So how do you like that? So I spent all this time trying to make it better. Okay. We spent all this time creating this new plan, this new like, how do we get Cascade to really understand our software so that when we make our software, so that all of this stuff is like in retrospect. I'm not seeing how it's resolving this issue of see, look, failed attempt. My apologies for repeating failures. I understand the provided exact. It's like this is what I'm trying to solve. Is it makes a plan and then it goes and it does the work and it's like it's just always failing and 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 failing. So I'm just assuming that everybody else is getting the same experience because there's absolutely no way that a non-coder like me who's trying to create a website which is more than just a brochure, which is actually a web application, is able to make edits to their code using these tools. This is what you have to solve. This is literally the issue. So, I watched this Replit video with this guy with the coolest glasses that I've ever seen. Dude, you should see this guy's glasses. They're insane. But the issue is like, okay, you got cool glasses, but I mean, I need more than cool glasses. Cool glasses guy. This guy. You see? Insane cool glasses. I love these glasses. I love them. I love your glasses, man. Your glasses are than beans. Cool. They're the coolest bean glasses in the cool bean universe. And he's all having his, he's like losing his junk on this, like, look at this Replit agent version 2 cloned Reddit in 2 prompts. Why is it able to clone Reddit in 2 prompts? Who knows why? First of all, what's going on with this smile? That smile is way too big. That's not a natural smile. You can't get it so excited. It's like something's wrong upstairs if you're smiling like that. You're not allowed to smile like that when this is the result you're getting because this is a stupid result. I mean, there's a lot of issues here. First of all, I mean, how do we know that that what's it called? What do they call it? Reddit? How do we know that like the code, that the actual code for this website is not already publicly available in GitHub or like somewhere else? Because the question is like, how did it actually make so if you ask it to make a clone of Reddit, okay, well, what is it actually doing in the process? Is it going to the website and then taking screenshots of the website? Or is it going to the website and then pulling from the code its actual like what is it getting from the internet? Or is it going into GitHub and is it finding some kind of repository which already has the code for this? So he didn't answer that question. And then he basically, after this, agent two makes this whole website, then he's like, oh yeah, okay, so there was like one little thing that's wrong, and then he asked the agent to fix it. What he's basically saying in like 50 cents, I was able to create a Reddit. It's like, no, first of all, no, you didn't. So just because you got one user, you logged in with one user and you were able to make some posts, that doesn't mean that it's working with 100 users or 1,000 users or 10,000 users or a million users. And then also there's like a lot of features here that aren't necessarily plugged in. You have to do debugging. So in the debugging process, the issue is, at some point, are you going to start having problems? Is there going to be some issue? And then is your agent two going to be able to solve all those issues? So I love your glasses and you got this big happy smile, but I mean, it's not realistic. Two prompts and I made this app. And then what? Like, I don't even know what this guy's doing right now. It's in the it's in the calibration documents. Like, I wanted it to make some enhancements. I don't really remember what the enhancements are. That something like, all right, let's go to Replit, add a task, Replit. Why do I? Yeah, Replit. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of this agent. I want to close the agent. All right. So, okay, yeah, there's no task list here. It's still hiding behind here. This is the original code, and then I took the code, I put it into my Windsurf. So, so the issue right now is, right now, I'm really focused on the market, and I have two different target markets. One target market, it's actual like people who are already using project management software like Asana, Jira, ClickUp, Monday.com. And so what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to copy the markdown file and then they're going to bring it directly into their project management software. So that is one of my target audiences. The other target audience, it's a people that they don't necessarily use those softwares right now, and so why not like copy those guys? Why not provide some type of software environment where you can manage a task list? So I just wanted to upgrade some of the features that are available inside of my task list. And that is also going to help me when I start making software. Like, for some reason, it's launching the website and it's not covering the whole page. All right, well, task button doesn't work. Home button doesn't work. Nothing on the page works. Nice. Hey, what's this? The page has been successfully prepared. The task list now contains a to-do progress done. Uh-huh. Took a screenshot. Yeah, except can't add anything to. Okay, we can add something to the task list. Nothing was added to the task list. So we need to create an automated script. All right, as it's working, I just want to go back to this guy over here and say, all right, can you remind me of the one or two or three, was it, like the drive the car protocols? Because like I can see that the Cascade is trying to make these changes to the task list. And then when I tried to go and work on do some adding, like add a task to the task list, I noticed that it's not adding a task to the task list. But then I went back to Cascade and I noticed that it's still working on something. And so maybe it's still working on something, and that's why the website doesn't work quite yet. But I'm just curious, is in the drive the car um, methodology, is there one that it actually helps us to navigate to the task list page and then create one new task and then create a second task and then create a third task and then create a fourth task and then change the status of a task and then change the name of a task and then change the date of a task and then delete a task and then download the package so that it can be added to a project management software, because we would need to have that automated series of behaviors or something similar to that, or maybe even more complicated than that, so that we could run the drive the car module and make sure that Cascade really understands what the task list page is supposed to be doing. Freaking handsome guys. Never hire a handsome guy. I'm not interested in handsome guys. If you want a handsome guy, it's a movie star. This guy, see, this is the kind of guy I'm going to trust. He says everything I learned building an AI app in 24 hours. All right. This guy, he looks like he's serious. He's got like 18,000 views. I mean, and he's not that handsome. I mean, he's handsome enough, but he's not so handsome. This guy's really handsome. Handsome guys are just useless. Useless. All right. So what are we talking about here? Beep, 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 beep. Okay, of course, these are the right questions to be asked. You're correct. The task list is not likely working at this very moment. This is normal. Think of it like a car mechanic shop. Cascades in the middle of implementation means it's actually writing the core parts. Let's see. Let's review the drive the car test. You explained each test to brainstorm journey, choose journey, mix. Here. This is something that I might want to look at a little bit later when I'm feeling less emotional. The brainstorm journey test simulates the user starting at the homepage, completing the 5 steps of the brainstorm module, successfully downloading the final JSON report. That's curious because there isn't the ability, you have to navigate to the, anyways. Choose journey, this is identical to brainstorm task, but it's for the choose module. Then there's the mixed module journey. This is where most complex when we build the test data persistence across modules. It starts with the task list, adds a single task, navigates away to the brainstorm and then to the choose, and then returns to the task list and verifies the original task is still there. Interesting. Finish the current task. Okay. Okay. Cascade is still working. I'll reply shortly. So it seems like I mean, to some extent, I guess Free 5 is actually doing a pretty good job. It understands what's going on. It's doing things like properly. The new Cascade seems to be doing an okay job in general. It understands what needs to get done. It built a bunch of different things. It doesn't seem to be having the same issues as the other one. It's going through some of our new protocols. It's creating some screenshots and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to leave this one here. I got another meeting in 3 minutes, so I have to go anyways. But yeah, I just wanted to say that the core issue is literally this issue where Cascade, I want to be able to create a new window in Cascade, and then I want it to have some, like, exactly what this is. I want it to go through our setup features, meaning it goes, I give it like our calibration documents, and then it goes through these processes and it makes changes to the code without taking like a million years. Like, right, it's actually taking quite a bit of time to do this, and like I would prefer if we could do this stuff a little bit faster. So the question is like, all right, so once we finish this process, that I'm going to ask like, okay, so like what could have we have done? Could we have gone through some drive the car protocols? Could we have done some other types of protocols to speed up the process so that you understand the code better before you're making decisions? Or is this necessary? That's the question we're trying to answer. Is this necessary? And to what extent is it necessary? Because maybe there's some things that we can do in preparation to make these things more simple. All right, so this is going to take a while. First, I will restore the file. Yeah, this is going to be all day. All right, good. So I'm glad you joined me for another wonderful experience here in Space Between Ideas. I'm Blaine Gates. Bye for now.